ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive.
It is Monday, and we're ready to go with today's edition of Your Drive here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann, and only Paul Swann for this Monday, Tuesday through Friday out. We do have backup situations, though, in hand. We've got Ben Anderson coming in on Tuesday and Thursday. We've got bowl games coming up this week as well. We've got a lot to get into today, and so we're going to do that with you. Our text line this hour, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. That is the text line to be a part of today's show here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Good weekend for the Thundering Herd. Marshall getting the win this weekend, and ladies last night got a big win over Eastern Kentucky, 75-50. I mean, that game was played at Transylvania University in Lexington. Some familiar ground for head coach Jolie Folk. She knows that court well. The Thundering Herd held EKU scoreless in the fourth quarter on the way to that victory. And so Sunbelt play begins now Wednesday morning, 11 a.m., playing Appalachian State. So playing host to Appy State. And it's going to be an 11 a.m. tip-off on Wednesday. Of course, as we mentioned, the Marshall men got the win over the weekend. Beat, I thought, a really good Wright State team and came in to the Henderson Center needing, I think, some momentum. You got the win over Western Kentucky, so you want to follow that up. You got conference play coming up, so what do you need to do? You need to beat Wright State. You need to beat that team and look good doing it. And I thought, even though the score was a 2-point win, 76-74, I thought Marshall looked good doing it. Lots of runs in this game, back to forth battles. Toward the end, Wyatt Fricks pulls up for a 3-point jumper. And as I told Wyatt the other day, I said, man, you had main character vibes going on. You pulled up, you were the main character in this story, and you hit that jumper. And he laughed, but it was true. And the Thundering Herd gets the win. And so now got a few days off before you get ready for conference play. But we go back and we reminisce a little bit on that game. It was just Saturday. But still, the Herd outscored Wright State 44-35 in that second after going down 39-32. I thought the big story here was free throws. Wright State only attempted 6. Marshall, 13 of 16. Wright State, 4 of 6. That's it. That's a big deal right there. 3-point shot, believe it or not. Wright State hit 12 of 29. Marshall was just 7 of 24, but it really didn't matter. You know, free throw line helped. Rebound battle was contested all game long. Turnovers, Marshall had 11 turnovers. Wright State had 5. So points off turnovers, you got to clean that up, to borrow a phrase. 10-4 points from turnovers in favor of Wright State. Points in the paint, back and forth battle there, 28-24 in favor of the Herd. Bench points. I knew Wright State would come off the bench and have some scores. So outscored the Herd 27-11 there. But big story of the game, was it Wyatt Fricks with 19 points? Was it Noah Ashuti with 18 points? Was it Jalen Spear with 14 points? Or was it Matt Van Komen with 7 blocks and 11 rebounds? Which Marshall standout, the story of the game for you? 7 blocks, that's pretty good. And 11 rebounds on top of that. That's pretty good. And then you got Noah Ashuti. He's got 7 rebounds himself. The Herd winning the rebound battle by 1, 38-37, but ultimately it came down to who had the ball last, and Marshall wins the game. Thundering Herd in that game shot 49.1%. That was a little bit up, 28-57. 3-point shot, 7-24. That could have been better, but still, that's almost 30%. Free throws, big factor here, 81%, 13-16 for the Thundering Herd. So I'm happy with the win. Thundering Herd got a good crowd. I know a lot of people were trying to maybe avoid the weather. 3,755 show up to see the Herd take on Wright State. So now Marshall's got a few days before back in action. So hopefully the time off, if you can really call it time off, will benefit the Herd. We'll have that game for you coming up on Saturday. That'll be on 93.7 The Dog. We've got bowl action all week long this week, next week as well. College football playoff is coming up on Friday and Saturday, and we're going to have all those games right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. So we got the word the other day on Saturday while we're at the basketball game. Football scoop, first on the scene. And the word came out that Marshall was going to hire Brad Lambert as the Herd's new defensive coordinator. Third in a row now that Marshall has needed someone to take care of business, especially on that defensive side of the ball. Third time in a row, you go, you know what? Wouldn't it be great if we could bring Brad Lambert back? Here he is. Third time. Now, not exactly in a row, but you know what I'm saying. It's like you bring someone in, it's like, yeah, sure, let's have Brad Lambert back. So he's the Herd's, air quotes here, new defensive coordinator. So third time he was on Doc Holliday's staff in 2019 and 2020. Obviously, big part of the Thundering Herd's success in the 90s from 1990 to 1995. Marshall did some things well. Under Jim Donovan's squads. 1992 National Championship comes to mind. Several appearances in the championship game. Very successful run for the Thundering Herd in the 90s. And, of course, then, some good ball clubs in 2019 and 2020 for Doc Holliday's staff. So it was good to see Brad Lambert coming back to the Thundering Herd. Also, as we mentioned the other day, Alex Jones was announced as the general manager for the Thundering Herd. So he's going to serve as the GM in a position which has expanded more and more in college athletics. Jones was the assistant director of player personnel 2019 to 2022. Following his time at Marshall, he was part of Virginia Tech's staff. He was the director of player personnel for the Hokies from 22 to 25. Lambert, of course, coming back, having a lot of success. He was at Wake Forest. He was at Georgia, Charlotte. He started there. He really was the one who just took charge of the start of Charlotte's football program. He was the 49ers' first head coach from 2011 to 2018. So lots of time as well at Wake Forest. He was at Kentucky. He's a guy that a lot of Herd fans happy to have back. And when you think of Brad Lambert, you think of success. And that's what Marshall's looking for. And this upcoming season, you're looking for success, so why don't you get somebody who has experience, knows what championship football looks like at Marshall University? That's the big thing for me. You bring in somebody with a great resume, lots of success. I mean, you could go down the numbers and you can talk about, all his successes on and off the field. You can talk about rankings, all of that. And that's great. Put that stuff in context, though. Brad Lambert comes in. He knows what Marshall football should look like. He knows and understands. He was here during an instrumental time in the development of Marshall football, what Marshall football really was. Without Jim Donovan, without that run of Thundering Herd football, there's no Bob Pruitt in that run. And not taking away anything that Bob Pruitt did. Bob Pruitt came in, and the most important thing a coach can do coming in is not mess it up. Bob definitely did not mess it up. Bob took it. Hey, this is a pretty nice car here. Let's go shine those rims up a little bit. Let's clean that engine up a little bit, Make it brand new again. Polish it up. Not that it really needed any of that to begin with, but you know what? Let's take that cassette deck out of this car now. You know what? Let's put a CD player in here. That's probably That's probably the best way to describe it. The car was sharp. It was a nice ride. Bob comes in like, you know what? Cassettes, that's not happening anymore. We're getting rid of that cassette deck. We're throwing in the CD player. Let's go. So that way we can jam to some tunes on the compact disc player as we start winning some championships as well. So Marshall had a great run in the 90s. Lambert, of course, big part of that foundation. I'm excited to have him back. What do you think? Did you get what you wanted for Christmas early with Herd Football? 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. That is our text line to be a part of today's show here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. We'll talk a little basketball as well with you when we continue on this edition of The Drive.
Earn more with 4 at the best community bank in the Kanawha Valley, Polka Valley Bank. Polka Valley Bank is now offering a certificate of deposit special, 10-month APY, annual percentage yield 4%. Take advantage of this great rate to grow your savings. For more information, stop by one of the 8 Polka Valley Bank locations today. Polka Valley Bank, where relationships matter.
Certain terms and conditions apply. Rates based on minimum annual percentage yield. Subject to change without notice. Minimum deposit required of $10,000 of new money not currently on deposit with Polka Valley Bank to receive APY. Member FDIC.
Cold weather's on its way, and what do you want on those cold, chilly evenings? A warm blanket and a hot cup of cocoa. Well, you know who else wants the same comfort? Mice. Messy, uninvited guests. They sneak in and leave droppings, chew through your food and packages. Don't let mice take over your home this fall and winter. Call K&B Pest Control. We will kill for your business. Call today, 304-523-4281.
This fall, let the Car Ferry bring a little magic to your driveway at Mark Porter Auto Group. With locations in Pomeroy and Jackson, Ohio, and Ashland, Kentucky, they make it easy to get into a safe, reliable vehicle. Every used car goes through a 117-point inspection, fall into a safe, reliable vehicle, and let the Car Ferry guide you to Mark Porter Auto Group in Pomeroy, Jackson, and Ashland, or shop 24/7 at markporterautogroup.com.
Looking for midweek fun? Head to Frank's Place, where every night's a party. Wednesdays are full of brains and brews with trivia night. Grab your crew and show off what you know. Thursdays, crank it up with Singo Bingo. Music meets bingo for prizes and laughs. Then Fridays, we hand you the mic for karaoke night. Sing your heart out and start your weekend right. The fun never stops at Frank's Place. Great drinks, great friends, and good times. Frank's Place, located at the River Place Plaza, next to Fratelli's. Check them out on Facebook for weekly updates and specials. Frank's Place, your home away from home.
If you've been diagnosed with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis, this is what it sounds like to be 1,000,000 miles away. Imagine being 1,000,000 miles away. Tremfya Kuselkumab, taken by injection, is a prescription medicine for adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who may benefit from taking injections or pills or phototherapy. With Tremfya, clearer skin is possible. In clinical trials, at least 70% of patients saw at least 90% clearer skin at 16 weeks. Results may vary. Tremfya is also indicated for adults with active psoriatic arthritis. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Ask your doctor about Tremfya. Call 1-800-526-7736 or visit tremfya.com.
I'm Naheem Hines, professional football player and proud supporter of the Muscular Dystrophy Association. My mom was diagnosed with muscular dystrophy when I was 14, and I watched her struggle. But MDA helped her get the best treatments and care, and they also help kids like my buddy Ethan.
My name is Ethan. Thanks to the Muscular Dystrophy Association and people like you, I have more hope than ever before. From day one, they've treated me like family at my local care center. MDA is the only one that funds over 150 care centers across the U.S. to help provide state-of-the-art care for adults and kids like me.
MDA has been transforming the lives of people living with muscular dystrophy, ALS, and other related neuromuscular diseases. They fund the research for breakthrough treatments, care, and cures. And MDA provides support to thousands of families like mine and Ethan's in communities like yours. Thanks to MDA, kids and adults can live life to its fullest. Join us and learn more at mda.org today.
This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Miss an episode? Catch it anytime on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
We continue on with this Monday edition of Your Drive. Our text line, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Paul Swann, your host here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Guaranteed not to give up or tap out, just like John Cena did on Saturday. No, sir, I will never tap out. Hustle, loyalty, respect lives here. And since this is radio, you can't see me. Our producer is Ben Anderson today, by the way. I just want to point that out because Ben is a huge John Cena fan. I've got photos of him at Halloween dressed up as John Cena, and I won't post them unless I get a lot of demand for that. So if you blow the text line up today, we might post those on my X account, 304-396-TALK. Let's go to the text line. First up, texter says, Paul, welcome Brad Lambert. Was Shannon Morrison reassigned or was he dismissed? I have not heard yet either way if he was reassigned or dismissed. We'll probably get that full staff briefing sooner than later. I'm going to assume at worst he was dismissed. At, best case for him, maybe reassigned. But I have not heard anything official on that just yet. I mean, I've heard some rumors, but nothing I can confirm. Also, for the text line, texture says the main character of the game, we're talking about the Marshall basketball game, the main character of the game for me was Big Matt with 7 blocks and 11 rebounds. And Lambert is a good hire, go Herd. Absolutely, on both those counts. Main character for me has to be Matt Van Komen. Well, I don't know. I want to say that, but then again, I mean, it was Fricks that goes up with that 3 and bomb. I mean, he looked like he was in slow motion, just jumped, shot it, looked good, put the Herd up. Herd wins. I mean, he was not going to be denied that way. I mean, I might have to go Wyatt Fricks with main character energy in that game. Is that going to be a new thing for the show? You have man of the match in soccer. We could have the main character of the game. Instead of the player of the game, the main character of the game. That seems almost on brand for this type of program. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. John writes in and says, Noah Aschuti scoring 7 straight after the game, tied at 63. The man could not miss, and his shots turned the tide toward the direction of the Herd. All right, we appreciate that. No relation to John Cena, right? I'm rubbing the salt in the wound today, by the way. Did you watch? Anybody watch that? Maybe not because it was on Peacock. Saturday night's main event. Did anyone tune in? I got home after the basketball game. I was like, okay, I got to do this. Let's watch to see John Cena's retirement match. He comes out. He's facing off against Gunther. Gunther's the guy that they dialed up to retire John Cena. And spoiler alert, hustle, loyalty, and respect, never give up, tapped out. It was almost as if John was just laying there. It's like, you know what? I'm done. He smiled. He did the tap. And he's like, I'm done. All right, I'm good. And that was the decision. John Cena, who has been preaching for over 20-some years now, never give up, was forced to tap. Let's see. I think the only 3 other people that forced him to tap was Chris Jericho, was also Kurt Angle, and they don't mention his name, WWE, because unfortunately of the circumstances surrounding his death and the family of his death, but it was Chris Benoit. Those were the only 3 people that forced John to tap. But that was, again, before his hustle, loyalty, and respect character. That was more the Doctor of Thugonomics character. There you go. It's a lot of wrestling news in this show. You probably didn't expect that. But if you watch Saturday Night Main Event, let me know. We're going to rub salt in our producer, Ben Anderson's wound all day today. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. That's our number to be a part of today's show here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Sunday was a little bit more eventful than Saturday. Of course, imagine this. Saturday, Marshall gets the win in basketball, and then you're hoping that, you know what, maybe the Bengals just maybe could beat the Baltimore Ravens again. Joe Cool's back. Joe Ice, Joe Shiesty, Joe Burrow's back. And no Joe showed up. I mean, he owned it. He said, look, not a single team in the NFL would have won with me as quarterback. He was not very good. Now, I think that's more of a bump in the road than anything, not an indicator. But this team just got punched in the mouth and did not. It's almost as if they rolled over like John Cena did. They gave up. They got punched in the mouth. Did not look good. And you know what the big stink from the Bengals game was over the weekend? Not the fact that the Bengals just rolled over and just got punched in the mouth and didn't do anything about it. It was the fact that people were complaining about the seats. The fact that nobody brushed off the seats during the storm, which laid a little bit more of snow Sunday morning, Saturday night, and the Bengals didn't clean the seats off for those souls that actually came out to the stadium to watch the game. Now, I understand the concourses, the walkways, everything else properly taken care of, and the Bengals actually were in conversations with the NFL. The NFL seemed satisfied, but the Bengals did not go the extra mile in brushing off the seats during the game for those who actually showed up. I'm surprised there was actually a crowd. I mean, a team with only 4 wins, and this is basically your last gasp. And Bengals fans showed up. I did see reports that it was difficult to get into the stadium because there were not enough gates open. And again, that was probably because of short staffing. And I know I feel your pain there because I've seen that happen where there's just not enough entry points into a stadium and people are getting there. And in a snowstorm and a weather situation like this, I don't think the adage, hey, get there early so you can get into the stadium really works in this instance here. But that was the big complaint. Not that the Bengals were eliminated from the playoffs. Not the fact that they got shut out. Last time they were shut out, I believe it was, I want to say 2017. Don't hold me to that, but I want to say it was 2017. And it was the Ravens that did it to the Bengals then as well, I believe. So it's been a while since we've seen the Bengals shut out, and now they're out again. It feels like that Super Bowl run was years and years ago. And oh, by the way, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs also eliminated from postseason. What's that going to look like? Our producer, Ben Anderson, is saying hallelujah. What is it with that? It's like you're the second Bengals fan to do that to me. Not that particular move, but you're the second Bengals fan to go, hey, on the bright side, the Chiefs they're done. When did the Bengals' biggest rival become the Chiefs? They're like 5th or 6th on my list. I mean, 5th or 6th. Because they're the champs. You got to beat them. Until you can beat them, no. I mean, it's the Steelers. It's the Ravens. It's the Browns. By the way, when the Battle of Ohio takes place again, really, we're playing for pride at this point. If you're showing up for that game, it's pride. John texts back in and says that Taylor needs to be canned. I think you need a whole new personnel department. That's your problem right there. I don't know if coaching is the big problem or player personnel or both. It could be both. So what do you do now? Do you get rid of the defensive coordinator again? If you're the Cincinnati Bengals, what do you change? I think you have to make some serious evaluations from top to bottom, how you're developing players, how you're scouting players, your player personnel, development of players. All of that needs to be looked at top to bottom. I mean, the difference here between college and pro is there's more money involved. Fans aren't showing up out of love of your program. They're just fed up. At NFL prices, they're fed up. If you're a fan of a school, you're showing up out of loyalty, but even then you get fed up to a point. But there's always next year. There's always next year. But at the same time, it's the biggest difference here is just money. That's it. And I don't know if there's really that big of a difference anymore. So you get fed up. You get fed up if you're a Marshall fan with the way the football team is rolling here. What do? Do you threaten to cancel your season tickets? You cancel the threaten? Do you not show up? And, oh, by the way, this is a great text. Thanks for bringing this up, reminding me. Texter says, hey, how about Ali scoring his first touchdown and Mike Green getting his sack? Absolutely. Should have drafted that guy. Hey, Cincinnati, you should have drafted Mike Green. I wasn't mad about it. Absolutely not, because now I'm rooting for the Bengals, obviously, as a Bengals fan. But to see Mike Green get that sack, I'm sitting there thinking, man, wouldn't it have been great if he was on the other side wearing the Bengals orange? And, of course, Ali getting that touchdown. That's awesome as well. And so there were some good things. If you're a Bengals fan but you're a Marshall person, there were some good things about this game. And you always are happy with those guys that they're doing well, especially a guy like Mike Green. He got to Marshall, and he decided, hey, you know what? This is where I'm going to end it at. I'm going to be at Marshall. I want to end my career at Marshall. And you got to respect that guy for that. And then, of course, Rasheen Ali, you got to respect him as well. What he was able to accomplish and how he did it at Marshall University. So those guys doing well, I was happy with that. It's just that Green should have been on the orange team, and the Bengals should have drafted him. Plain and simple. Personal opinion here. His draft stock dropped a little bit. I don't think it should have. Or maybe his draft stock didn't drop and the Bengals dropped the ball there. That's probably, because he would have been the perfect fit. So, yeah, that's some good stuff. Thanks for reminding me. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. That's our text line to be a part of today's show here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Oh, by the way, the Browns got beat by the Bears 31-3. They have scored at least. Vikings beat them Cowboys. Yes, Vikings beat them Cowboys 34-26. And then, of course, tonight we're all Dolphins fans, as the Steelers will play host to the Dolphins. And we'll have that game for you. 7:30 is going to be our airtime right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. More coming up, including your text on today's edition of The Drive. Metro Community Federal Credit Union now brings you all the tech that big banks have, but still has that personal touch of a member-owned community credit union. Apple Pay? Got it. Digital wallet? Yep. Message pay by text, online loan payments, even chatting with a real person, not a bot. Open accounts, sign documents, and manage your money all online. It's the big bank tech you need from the local community-minded credit union you trust. Metro Community FCU. Visit metrocommunityfcu.com today.
Looking for midweek fun? Head to Frank's Place, where every night's a party. Wednesdays are full of brains and brews with trivia night. Grab your crew and show off what you know. Thursdays, crank it up with Singo Bingo. Music meets bingo for prizes and laughs. Then Fridays, we hand you the mic for karaoke night. Sing your heart out and start your weekend right. The fun never stops at Frank's Place. Great drinks, great friends, and good times. Frank's Place, located at the River Place Plaza, next to Fratelli's. Check them out on Facebook for weekly updates and specials. Frank's Place, your home away from home.
Need new appliances for the holiday season? Menards is the place to shop. We have appliances ready to take home today. Whether you want new laundry appliances or need upgrades for your kitchen, you'll be sure to find appliances that'll make your life easier. Visit our excellent in-stock appliance selection today. Plus, check out Menards.com to view all of our great deals happening this week.
Sloman's Home Security has an exclusive deal, a free home security system with free professional installation and 24/7 central station monitoring when you use their low-cost central station monitoring. That's right, free system and professional installation. Dial pound 250 on your cell and say keyword Sloman's. Your system includes a touchscreen keypad, 3 door or window sensors, a motion detector, notifications, and remote keypad access, so you can check in anytime from anywhere. You can't put a price on peace of mind. At Sloman's Home Security, we believe every family deserves to feel safe, because protecting what matters most shouldn't be complicated or expensive. Dial pound 250 on your cell and say keyword Slomans to get your free home security system and professional installation today. Slomans Home Security, protecting families nationwide. Dial pound 250 on your cell and say keyword Slomans. That's pound 250, keyword Slomans.
Gomart would like to wish all of its customers and associates a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And remember, when you need to fuel up for the journey, Gomart has you covered with quality gasoline, hot coffee, and delicious snacks. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year from Gomart.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Dave Wilson, host of Metro News Talkline, and you're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
We continue on with this Monday edition of Your Drive here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Our text line, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Let's go back to the text line. Holmes writes in, says, "Hey, Paul, we played a great game on Saturday. We showed no quit. We got the win, and it easily could have been a loss. Great coaching. I think Fricks was the one that needed a big game for us to be successful. I love the 7 block shots and great shooting at the line. We have some talented players waiting for their turn. What say you? Great job, rock on. Go Herd." That's Holmes. By the way, Holmes, let me tell you about this guy. My man won tickets to go see the Herd. Random draw. You know, that's what, I want to make sure I take care of everybody. So he hadn't won anything. Hey, you're the winner. Come on in, get the tickets. Shows up. Holmes brings me a card. I didn't get to see him, but he brings me a thank you card. And, are you ready for this? A Christmas candy cane and a bag of goldfish. Absolutely. I was sitting there today like, I need something to munch on. Oh, wait, Holmes brought me goldfish. And so now I have a partially full bag of goldfish. And Ben, I'm taking those with me. Ben Anderson, our producer. Those won't be in my desk drawer for you to go Bogart tomorrow when you're filling in for me. So I already know what's up. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. You can tell by just my energy, you know I'm not going to be here tomorrow. So Ben's going to be our fill-in tomorrow. We're looking forward to that. Ben's going to do he's going to do a good job. So I'm looking forward to listening in tomorrow and hearing what Ben has to say, as we'll have comments from Coach Jackson tomorrow from his presser as Marshall starts to get ready for conference play. And, of course, it's important to start off. You're starting with the best, right? You're taking on the best team. Technically, maybe not the best team, but at the same time, the champ is here. The champ is here. You're taking on the champs. Speaking of the champs, James Madison University leading the Sun Belt Conference's Vic Bubba's Cup standings through the 2025 fall sports season. This is the All Sports Championship. Here's how it stands. James Madison, through December 15th, number 1. Arkansas State, number 2. Coastal Carolina, number 3. Tied with also number 3, Louisiana. And Also, number 3, Marshall. So the Thundering Herd tied with Louisiana Coastal. Right now, Marshall has 36.5 points. James Madison has 48. Marshall got 6 points in cross country and women's cross country. Men's cross country, it got 4 points. Women's soccer, it got 8.5 points. Men's soccer, it got 8 points. Volleyball got 5 points. And usually the big number for the Herd, 5 points for football. James Madison, in comparison, got 15 points out of football this year. So the cup chase continues. And, I'm curious. I think I know the answer already, but when Christian Spears was the athletic director, he wanted this thing. He absolutely wanted to be the best athletic department in the standings, and he wanted this thing. So I'm sure every athletic department wants to claim this title for the fall standings right now, showing that James Madison's on top. But Texas State has won 3 of the last 4. Of course, Texas State's leaving. South Alabama won it in 2023 and in 2021. So really, from 21 on, it's either been South Alabama or Texas State. And to be fair, other than Arkansas State in 2020, from 2015 on, it's either been South Alabama or Texas State that has won this thing. Again, with the one blip on that train being Arkansas State in 2020. Before that, it was Middle Tennessee and Western Kentucky battling back and forth. And you see why those two programs were attractive at the time for Conference USA. Take those two teams, consider the best teams probably in the Sun Belt. You bring them over to Conference USA. And then, of course, the degradation of Conference USA continued to the point where Marshall didn't want to be in a situation where it was on a falling ladder or a sinking ship or a crumbling building. And so getting out with arguably, say what you will about Southern Miss, but Southern Miss brought you a lot of swagger, even not being the best football program at the time, because I always felt like in Conference USA, if Southern Miss was good, Conference USA was good. I felt that way. I believed it. And, of course, also Old Dominion, it brings a different type of swagger to the program and to the department as well. So, honestly, I think Marshall's got a shot. I mean, I'm okay with Marshall being third right now. App State's right behind everyone at 34 points. But again, football 15 points for James Madison. And then Old Dominion, like 12.5 points. Troy had 12.5 points as well. Troy is dead last, but football 12.5 points is basically anchoring everything else. So if Marshall would have done better in football, Marshall would be right up there. Probably could be second. I don't want to say first, but could be, because we saw Marshall. Marshall was up on these standings. It wasn't last year, maybe the year before. I think Marshall was partially up on this last year. It's interesting dynamic to look at this because, again, some of these programs don't have soccer, and that's the thing. Marshall's got almost every sport. And I think that was almost by design when Christian Spears was here, because Marshall has baseball, basketball, cross country, men's and women's now. Golf had that. Soccer, that was a big one. Got to have soccer if you're going to be in the Sun Belt, and that started. Tennis, you don't have men's tennis yet. Love to see men's tennis at Marshall University. Indoor track and field, outdoor track and field. So basically the men's sports right now, what are you missing? Soccer and tennis. On the women's side, you got basketball. You don't have beach volleyball. And I'm still saying, look, the sandy shores of the Ohio River, let's make it happen. But you got everything else, cross country, golf, soccer, softball, tennis, indoor, outdoor track and field volleyball. So you almost have all the sports the Sun Belt offers. I'd love to see tennis added. That would be the next one I'd like to see added. We joke about beach volleyball. I know Coach Huff was joking about it. Was he really joking about it, though, a few years ago? Wasn't there plans for that? But I'd like to see tennis added to the men's side. That would really be nice to see a men's and women's tennis program. I think it would. There would be some opportunities to get into the transfer portal with that one. You might find that men's tennis could be really successful at Marshall University. Our text line, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Get your text in. Final segment coming up in today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Stuck in a state of falling behind, struggling to keep up with kids, finances, insurance, and life? Well, let your State Farm agent help you simplify and get to a better state. With State Farm handling your auto, home, and life insurance, you'll have more time to handle everything else. More money, too. Adding State Farm policies can earn discounts that could add up to 40%. Help you get ahead. Call an agent today and get to a better state with State Farm. In Huntington, Ray Crabtree, 304-736-8181. In Milton, Russ McRae, 304-743-9318. And in Lavalette, Jason Elkins, 304-529-7555.
This season, the winning drive starts at John Sang Ford Lincoln in Gallipolis. Whether you're tackling tough terrain, rushing through the work week, or going for the long haul, Ford and Lincoln have the power, performance, and precision to keep you in the game. From F-150s built like all-stars to sleek luxury Lincolns ready for the highlight reel, John Sang has the lineup that scores every time. And right now, the deals are heating up like a fourth quarter comeback. Make the winning play today at John Sang Ford Lincoln, 195 Upper River Road in Gallipolis, Ohio, where every drive is a victory.
Our Kendrick Communications family of stations reminds you of the need for blood donations to the Red Cross. Blood is always needed. It may save your life or the life of a loved one. This reminder is brought to you in part by
Tri-State Power Sports, your CF Moto dealer. Visit their location behind KFC in Cannonsburg, Kentucky. Pollock's Jewelers, professional service with a personal touch. 913 Winchester Avenue in Ashland. Phone 606-324-3197. Car Stuff, time to upgrade your ride. Remote starters, window tint, stereo installs, and more. Visit Car Stuff, 3450 US Route 60 in Huntington.
You just can't stop once you've tried Scraggle Pop. Scraggle Pop kettle corn has become a favorite snack throughout the tri-state area, and they are now expanding beyond. This Christmas season, come visit Scraggle Pop at the Huntington Mall or get it from Food Fair and a number of great tri-state retailers. They have an assortment of delicious flavors like cinnamon, caramel, Chicago blend, and of course the original blend of kettle corn that started it all. Grab your favorite kettle corn blend along with frozen sweet tea, lemonade, or hot apple cider. Take home a beautiful Christmas tin for yourself or as a gift for family and friends. Scraggle Pop also offers mini sports team tins for the sports fan in your life. So check them out today at the Huntington Mall. Scraggle Pop now ships nationwide. Visit their website at scragglepop.com to send your loved ones a tin of their favorite flavor. You just can't stop once you've tried Scraggle Pop. scragglepop.com.
KFB The Better Bank would like to wish you a happy holidays. May your days be filled with peace and joy. As we reflect on this past year, we would like to thank you for trusting us with your finances and look forward to serving our community in the new year.
Happy holidays from Marshy's Carryout in Gallipolis. Celebrate the season with our wide selection of wines and spirits, perfect for toasting with family and friends. Whether you're stocking up for a festive event or gifting a special bottle, they've got something for everyone. Marshy's Carryout in Gallipolis wishes you a very Merry Christmas and cheers to the new year.
I'm Naheem Hines, professional football player and proud supporter of the Muscular Dystrophy Association. My mom was diagnosed with muscular dystrophy when I was 14, and I watched her struggle. But MDA helped her get the best treatments and care, and they also help kids like my buddy Ethan.
My name is Ethan. Thanks to the Muscular Dystrophy Association and people like you, I have more hope than ever before. From day one, they've treated me like family at my local care center. AMDA is the only one that funds over 150 care centers across the U.S. to help provide state-of-the-art care for adults and kids like me.
MDA has been transforming the lives of people living with muscular dystrophy, ALS, and other related neuromuscular diseases. They fund the research for breakthrough treatments, care, and cures. And MDA provides support to thousands of families like mine and Ethan's in communities like yours. Thanks to MDA, kids and adults can live life to its fullest. Join us and learn more at MDA.org today.
As a prospective college student, one way you can save money on higher education is to earn college credit while you're still in high school. You can save hundreds, even thousands of dollars by taking dual credit courses, which let you earn high school credit and college credit at the same time. Want to learn more about dual credit courses? Visit the website of the Kentucky Higher Education Assistance Authority at kheaa.com. That's kheaa.com.
You're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
It's our final segment for today's edition of The Drive here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Our text line, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Coming up on Wednesday, Thundering Herd will be back in action. Sunbelt Conference play. It's going to be at the Cam Henderson Center, 11 a.m. App State will be the opponent. And you're wondering, why is it 11 a.m.? The kids are coming to the Cam. 3,000 screaming, loud, highly caffeinated, sugared up vocal boxes will be at the Cam Henderson Center screaming so loud it'll be deafening. It'll be fun. Have you been to one of these things? If you've got a moment, if you can get over, maybe you could take off early, go do early lunch or something, and go over to the Henderson Center for this thing. It's Education Day. And when I was able to break away from the office, I'd head over now and then, and I went to a couple of years. Yes, I think the last one I got to go to actually was Kim was coaching. So that was a couple of years ago. And I think my eardrums are still healing from that experience. So if you want to just go and see 3,000 plus screaming crazy kids cheering on the Herd, this is your game. You know what? Why can't you bring those kids in for – can we do Marshall men's games like 11 a.m.? Can we just do an Education Day for the Marshall men? Let's just dial that up. 11 a.m., Marshall Education Day for the men's team. Coach Jackson comes out, and you got 3,000-4,000 screaming kids just pouring in and just blowing everyone's eardrums. I would do that for special games. I wish we could find this game on the schedule in which we could just hijack and say, you know what, Coach? That's going to be our Education Day for the men. I don't know which game I would pick. Maybe JMU. I don't know. I would probably pick JMU. But that's what's happening Wednesday at the Cam Henderson Center. We will get your text in 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. That's our text line to be a part of today's show here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. We got a basketball text. Texture says that Noah Ashuti had main character vibes for the game on Saturday. Thundering Herd winning that game against Wright State 76-74. Oshuti with 18 points in that game, 7 rebounds. He was 3 off from a double-double. Matt Van Komen, 7 blocks, 11 rebounds. 3 off from a double-double. Wyatt Fricks had 19 points. Didn't have enough to maybe get a double-double. But at the same time, I felt like he did some hero things in that game. And you know what? We're not talking about really a couple of guys like Caleb Hollenbeck. He was out there almost 25 minutes. Yeah, he had 8 points, but I've really thought that he was a presence in that game. He was 3 of 5 from the field, 2 of 4 from the three-point line. And it's a Jalen Spear, 14 points, 7 assists. What a quiet night for Jalen Spear. When you're looking at 14.7 assists and 3 steals, by the way, you're looking at that and you're going, yeah, that's a quiet night for Jalen. Everybody had a good game. There was really not that many moments in that game where you thought, okay, there's a lull here. It was back and forth. At one point, Wright State led by 9. Marshall had a huge run that second, and then everything just started to, go back and forth. The game was tied 11 times. 13 lead changes, 11 ties. And Marshall only had the lead 11 minutes and 8 seconds in that game. Wright State led for almost 18 minutes. Doesn't matter, though. If you've got the lead when the clock expires, that's how you win the ball game. But at the same time, here's a number, though, surprised me. Marshall only had 8 fast break points in that game, 17 for Wright State. That did surprise me a little bit. But the big number for me probably was the 3-point line, with Wright State shooting over 41%. They're a team, I don't know if they're a quality team, but they're a quantity team when it comes to some of those shots. They win by volume. And 73 shots, Marshall only had 57 attempts. Keep that in mind. 29 of 73 for Wright State. And for Marshall, 28 of 57. That's a big number for me. 49.1% from the field compared to 39.7%. But 29 makes on 73 attempts. That's how they're going to win a lot of games. Marshall was fortunate enough to be able to. Defensively, Marshall had 26 defensive rebounds. That's a big number for me as well. Offensive rebounds, Wright State had 18, but Marshall was able to pull down 26 of those. Marshall had 12 offensive boards, and Wright State pulled in 19, but still 26 defensive boards. That's going to help you. Second chance points, Marshall actually won that battle 14-9 in second chance points. You would think with a team shooting 73, 29-73, a lot of volume there, you would think that maybe the second chance points would come a little bit more frequently, but that wasn't the case. And again, I give that a lot of credit to Marshall's defense in that game. This is a better team than that record indicated. Coming out of the horizon, I thought this was a good test for the Thundering Herd. Now, taking on one of the best programs in the conference at this moment in Troy, and that's where the Thundering Herd will begin conference play on Saturday. 1 o'clock is going to be our airtime right here on ESPN, 94.1 and AM 930. So we'll be on the air, get you set for that game. And then don't forget, stick around after the game. We'll have our post-game coverage as we always do with college basketball wrap-up. And, just always a reminder to myself as well, all of that's going to be on 93.7 The Dog, as we've got bowl games on Saturday. We've got the college football playoff. Miami at Texas A&M. We've got Tulane at Ole Miss. We've got James Madison at Oregon. All of that coming up on Saturday. You can tune in right here starting at noon on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. And, of course, on Friday, we'll have the college football playoff between Alabama and Oklahoma. And with that said, we are out of time. Special thanks tonight to our producer, Ben Anderson. He'll be back with you tomorrow and on Thursday. Wednesday, we're going to have bowl action, Cure Bowl, and the 68 Ventures Bowl. We've got Monday Night Football tonight. We've got the Veterans Bowl on Tuesday. We've got, of course, Thursday Night Football, L.A. and Seattle at 7:30. And Ben will be back for the Thursday edition of The Drive. And then Friday, we get things kicked off with the Myrtle Beach Bowl, the Gasparilla Bowl. We go right into the college football playoff. Bengals on Sunday. Monday, we might have a show because we got the famous Idaho Potato Bowl at 2 o'clock. We might get a show in. We'll find out next week. Have a great night, everyone. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
WRBC Huntington, W227BS Huntington, your flagship home of the Marshall Thundering Herd and The Drive with Paul Swann, ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
West Virginia Metro